Now, the Public Investment Corporation has suspended its Chief Operating Officer, Vuyani Hako. Hako has been the COO since November of 2020. The PIC has assured investors that Hako's suspension is in the best interest of all parties and would allow the independent investigation into the allegations against him to proceed without interference. Joining me now is Public Servants Association Chief Negotiator, Jannie Oosthuisen. Very good evening to you. Thank you for your time. What do you make of this situation?
Good evening and welcome to the listeners. Well, the PSA is welcoming the suspension of the COO. We are representing a substantial number of members that in the GPF, which money is being invested through the PIC. So if you look at the Party Commission, what they revealed in the outcome report, it is quite frightening that the report is condemning on the PIC, and therefore we welcome the suspension of the COO because it raised quite a lot of questions. Why all of a sudden now the COO is also suspended? We do know, however, that it is a precautionary suspension, but we also believe that there is a prima facie case why he was suspended. Otherwise, you won't just wake up in the morning and suspend a person for the sake of suspending a person.
And the raising serious questions also speaks to other senior officials who will also announce their resignation, speaking to a point of concern around what exactly is happening there.
100% correct. I mean, again, there are so many things. The PIC is acting on its mandate from its clients, which the PSA is one of the clients through the GPF. And the resignation all of a sudden also raised a lot of questions and concerns to us. Why all of a sudden would you just resign when a person is being suspended? It raises suspicion. And we as the PSA request that the CEO also be transparent and providing or conducting an investigation into the resignation and then the suspension of these executives. The PIC is the biggest fund manager of these GPF funds, and we cannot allow as the PSA that any wrongdoings or wrongful investments or bad investments is going to have a detrimental impact on the return or the growth of the GPF and the PSA members. And therefore, where there's smoke, there's fire, as they normally say. So we believe that they have resigned for a reason, and we would like to know, when conducting an investigation, what was the outcome. As I've already indicated, we are not saying that the Party Commission's report has anything to do with it, but we can only imagine if the Party Commission report reveals such unscrupulous ways of investments and enrichment and unduly benefits from the executives during that time. It leaves left much more to desire on what is going to happen and why is these people suspended or the person suspended and why have they resigned all of a sudden. The PSA just request and actually demand that transparency be at the order of the day and that we will be informed of what is going on.
You make a good point there, trying to perhaps not entirely blame this move on what transpired after the scathing report on the Party Commission, which unpacked that the PIC was tainted by illegality. That's according to the Judge Willems Heath's findings, which were published. Also speaking and perhaps giving you a sense of what is happening internally and what could be at stake. Also just looking at what came out of this Party Commission, what this report revealed was really an eye-opener.
No, exactly. It is therefore why the PSA, from the onset, we were part of this. We even submitted some input into the Party Commission. We even went to Cabinet to change the compilation of the PIC board in order to allow for union representation at the PIC board to be as a watchdog and to ensure that the investments that's been done in the correct manner and within the mandate, the investment mandates that's been given by the clients to the PIC. Because it is clear that there is a lot of investments that was done, which was not done according to the policy or according to the standard operating procedures. And that is a big concern to the PSA, because if the investment is going haywire or the investment is not done accordingly, it might have a huge impact on the return and on the growth of the pension fund. I mean, the pension fund, the GPF pension fund, sits at 2.34 trillion, which is one of the biggest funds. And we cannot allow that one fund manager is investing the GPF and the members' money without complying to certain regulations and certain policies within its investment mandate. And we as the PSA is also considering and want to push for alternative fund managers because it's very dangerous to have all your eggs in one basket. It can just create chaos if the investments done by this one fund manager is not going the way it's supposed to. And we've learned out of a lot of examples, the IO investment, the Steinhoff investment, and so I can go on and on as per the Party Commission. So from our side, we will definitely scrutinize and we will keep a watchful eye on what is going to happen and what is going to transpire during this investigation.
Absolutely. I suppose also just listening to the reasoning of the PIC, they believe that the suspension will be in the best interest of both the employer and the employee so that thorough work can be done to probe the nature of these allegations, and then they can proceed. But they needed to have this move happen so that there's room to get to the bottom of what exactly is happening. Do you have confidence in that?
Well, let me say, we don't want to preempt.
Yeah.
We just trust that justice will prevail and that the right thing will be done. And if at all there was, if the findings is at all that there was misconduct that is not unbecoming misconduct, then surely actions needs to be taken and consequence management must be done. And that's why we as the PSA will ensure that our members' rights and interests and the investments will be protected, and how the investments is done, because it's at the best interest of the country and the members and the fund itself, and well as the PIC. We are well aware that we are represented by union members on the PIC board, and we are thankful that they will also keep a watchful eye over this entire investigation and make sure that justice will prevail.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. Public Servants Association Chief Negotiator Jannie Oosthuisen there weighing in on the suspension of the PIC's Chief Operating Officer Vuyani Hako.